Okay, good morning, if it is morning where you are. I'm Joanna, and I'm joining you live from my home in Canada, and it is currently just before 9:30 a.m. here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Thank you for collaborating in this way. We're going to start to curate these classes together. And this is the first offering today, every Thursday live on this platform at 9:30 Pacific time. So I am super curious to know what you want to do, what you want to practice, what you want to learn more about, what will serve you best in guiding you through your practicums. So I really want this to be a collaborative endeavor that we journey through together. So I'm really looking forward to reading your comments and questions. For this first class, I thought we would start down at the root chakra. It seemed an appropriate place to begin. This was the first chakra we were born with, so I thought it was an appropriate starting point. So I was just joining you a few moments early so people can find their way. I know it sometimes takes a while for these classes to pop up on people's pages. So as people gather, I just wanted to let you know what props we will be using in this yin class. Of course, a mat, if you have one. If not, a carpeted floor is perfectly fine. And then for props, I have a longer bolster. Any bolster will do if you have one at home. If you don't, then we can just grab some cushions off the couch or off the bed, or grab a rolled up blanket. And then I have 2 foam yoga blocks, and I have 1 smaller, thinner chip foam block. If you have these, great. If you don't, you can just grab more cushions, more pillows, or for the foam block option, you might use some thick books. Might work in its place. So this is what you will need. And you can start to just center yourself in Sukhasana, a tall, easy seat. Feel free to place a prop underneath your pelvis so that your hips are slightly elevated. And then you can really start to anchor and hone that pelvis earthward. And start to rest your hands onto your legs. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Lengthen through the crown of your head. And start to either close or soften your eyes down to the floor. Gently start to receive your breath. So as mentioned, this is a yin practice for the root chakra. So we are beginning to focus our awareness on the pelvic bowl, the space where this root chakra lives. This chakra is located at the tailbone, right at the base of the spine. It is a spinning vortex, a wheel of energy. As we start to place awareness on the pelvis, focus on the tailbone and this energy center circling. Visualize its color. It is red in color. And I almost invite you to imagine your growing roots out of your pelvis and down into the earth. Letting those roots get deeper and wider. So you feel that sense of connection and stability and belonging. And in turn, these roots that are growing so deep and wide are starting to absorb that earth stability and bring that back towards your body. This chakra, Muladhara, is governed by the element of earth. Can we allow ourselves to anchor down now, settle into our bodies, and start to create the vibe, the mood for this practice? For this practice, we will be threading this theme of rooting down throughout the class. And all the asana that I've selected focus on keeping the pelvis on the floor. As you continue to visualize this red orb at the base of your pelvis, you might perhaps place your hands on your lower belly or on your lower back so that you can connect deeply to this place of home. And if you feel comfortable to do so, we will chant the mantra LAM, L-A-M. This mantra, this sound is the vibrational sound of this root chakra. LAM, L-A-M. So I will start the chant, and if you feel like you would like to join in, by all means, or simply listen and repeat the chant to yourself silently. Inhale to begin. Lam, 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 Lam. Three more times. Lam, Lam. Release your hands back onto your thighs. Return to a steady, soft breath. Notice how you're feeling. As we move through this practice together, I would love for you to ponder the following question. What is it that grounds you? What is it that grounds you? Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll your wrists, maybe move your head a little side to side. And then start to take a nice big stretch. And exhale, bring your hands down. Maybe roll your shoulders up, back and down. Just waking up the body enough so that we can transition into our first yin shape. So remove anything you might be sitting on. Lean into one hip and lean into one hand so that you can bring yourself onto your hands and knees into tabletop position. And then from there, we're going to move all the way down onto our bellies. So you can simply bend your elbows and lower your belly and your rib cage and your chest. And then just rest one hand on top of the other, rest your forehead to your hands, untuck your toes, and just simply rock your pelvis side to side. And rock your legs side to side. What we're doing here is creating a little release in the lower back and the glutes and in the hamstrings. We're often holding, clenching, storing. Just let there be some fluidity here and start to really feel the front of your pelvis in contact with the floor. And then pause. Exhale your breath into the mat. You can either keep your forehead resting on your hands, or you could rest your left ear to your hands. Bend your right knee and slide your right knee up to meet your right armpit. Go as far as is comfortable. This is called half frog pose. And you're trying your best to softly root the front of your pelvis down to the floor. There's a tendency here that the right hip will want to lift and the right glute will want to clench. So your work here is to try and soften that area more earthward, relaxing that right foot and right leg completely. And then I would love for you to just simply focus on breathing in and out of your lower belly. Enjoying the sensation of your belly rising and falling from the floor. Now if this feels enough stretch in your inner leg line and your adductor muscle, you can stay just here. And however, if you like to deepen this stretch, you could extend your right leg out long and straight to the right and keep wiggling those right toes further up your mat. This might create a deeper line of stretch for you. Just see how it goes. And then settle in. Let your front body surrender to the floor, especially that pelvic bowl. Start to come back to that red orb visualization at the base of your pelvis. And let us take 5 more breaths here. After you finish 5 breaths, bend that right knee, move the leg back to meet the left. Place your forehead to your hands and just gently rock your pelvis again, right and left. Exhaling your breath and noticing any differences between the two sides of yourself at this point. From here, we'll start the left side. So we're sliding the left knee up towards the left armpit. We're rooting the front of the pelvis down. We're relaxing that left leg as best we can. And you'll notice through this practice that all asana are focused on the pelvis. Connecting pelvis to earth, absorbing that stability, that security, that sense of belonging. This chakra was developed when we were in the womb, up until we were about 12 months old. A key time in our lives was growing those roots, feeling safe and secure. Again, perhaps ponder that question, what is it that grounds you? If you're taking that extra piece here, you're maybe extending your left leg out to the left and straightening that left leg any amount. Wiggling the left toes up the side of your mat. You don't have to do this even if you did it on the first side. Perhaps on this side you need to take it a little softer. Allow yourself 5 more breaths here. And then start to slowly slide that left leg down to meet the right. Forehead to hands. Exhale your breath. And just rock your pelvis side to side. Lovely. From here, we'll start to place one hand and the other next to our rib cage and press back through our hands into a tabletop position. We'll move into child's pose balasana. So you'll take your knees wide, you'll connect your big toes together. If you want to put a blanket under your knees for extra padding, you can. Sink your pelvis back towards your heels and start to melt your forehead and your chest towards the floor. If there is a big gap between your pelvis and your heels, feel free to add a cushion or a bolster there so that you have something to lean your pelvis into. If you would like a prop under your forehead, feel free to add a block or a cushion there. And if this shape feels too much, on your shoulders to have the arms out straight. Just add a little more bend to those elbows, more of your forearms on the floor. So the shape of Balasana, breathe into your lower back. And every exhale breath, you're sinking that pelvis heavier towards your heels. Notice the parts of your body in contact with the earth now. And see if you can continue that work of visualizing roots growing out of your body and down into the earth. All the areas of yourself that are in contact with the floor, growing roots deep and wide. Soaking up, absorbing that earth, grounding quality. As your body continues to yield and soften to the floor. Feel free to remain with the head and the arms extending forward. Or you have an option here, as you can inhale to walk your hands and chest more to the right, and off your mat slightly. And then bowing your head down towards the floor again. Working into a gentle left side body stretch. You could place your left hand on top of the right one here, if that feels comfortable for you. And again, rooting the forehead down to the earth or onto a block. And start to sweep your breath up and down that left side of your body. Take 3 more breaths on this side. And then inhale through center and over to the left. Repeating the side stretch on the other side. Maybe right hand on top of left one. Bow the head down between your arms. And really root the pelvis back and down. Especially the right hip towards the right heel. Move into this right side of your body. Thinking about the qualities of this element. Its stillness, its stability, its denseness. And tuning in to those qualities We are giving ourselves permission to feel those qualities through our whole being. Three more breaths. Use your inhale breath to walk you back to center, and exhale in full child's pose. Start to walk your hands closer to you. You come up and into tabletop position, removing any props that might be underneath your body. Come onto one hip and one hand, and then bring your legs forwards. You might like to just lean into your hands, extend the legs, and just give the ankles a roll, wiggle the toes, shake the legs, shake the hips, sending that fresh blood, fresh prana energy down into your pelvis and into your legs. Nice big exhale. The next shape is going to be Paschimottanasana, or seated forward fold. So as you gather yourself upright, I really want you to investigate how sitting upright feels in your body. If you have a tall spine in this position and your pelvis feels like it's hinging forwards, then you're in the right spot. If you feel like your pelvis is rounding back or your back is rounded, your pelvis is tilting backwards and your feet feel a long, long way away, you might like to use a block or a cushion under your pelvis. Now this adds a little elevation to your hips. And if you sit right on the very edge of that prop, you're going to help tilt your pelvis forwards, which in turn will give you better posture and help us as we move into this fold. You might also like to think about your hamstrings here. If your hamstrings are very tight, you might be sliding extra props underneath your knees so that the legs are a little softer and more supported. And then the final thing is just to check that your legs are your hip distance apart. You don't have to have the legs glued together for this. You want to make sure that your hips have enough mobility so that you can hinge forward. So check that you're in a good position with your legs and your feet are softly flexing towards the sky. From here, you'll have your hands on your thighs and you'll lift your spine forward. Roll your shoulders up, back and down. Inhale your breath. As you exhale, pull your belly button towards your back and lean your heart towards your toes. So you're thinking about keeping the length in your spine. There's not a rounding quality here. It's a long spine, chest towards your toes, hands sliding down your legs, and then slowly start to look towards the floor so that the back of your neck stays long and supple. Here we are in this fold, and you're just playing with what is enough. This is the whole quality of yin. Have I gone too deep? Have I backed off too much? Where is that sweet spot of feeling and still breathing with ease? So you're trying to pinpoint where that is for you, and you're being very gracious and very patient with your body. You're allowing your body to find that initial edge, and then you're quite simply allowing your breath to be nice and steady, which communicates to the body that everything is okay here. And the body might respond by softening and allowing you to fold in a little deeper. So while we're here in this forward fold, I thought we could practice our Ujjayi breath, our Ujjayi pranayama, that ocean quality breath, which is great grounding breath to stimulate the root chakra, and it's also great practice to come into in some of these yin shapes when we might be feeling a little challenge, or we might be needing to remind the body to calm. So Ujjayi breathing, we are creating a slight restriction to the back of the throat. We're taking the inhale and the exhale from the nose. As you inhale, you'll breathe in nice and deep. And as you exhale, imagine you're fogging up a mirror in front of you. So inhale through your nose. And as you exhale, hear that exhale breath in the back of your throat, like the ocean. Long inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose, slight constriction to the back of your throat. Continue like that, making your breath long and smooth, and as equal on the inhale as the exhale. Take 5 more Ujjayi breaths while hinging forwards in this fold. This Ujjayi breath is serving you. Continue this breath work as we move through the next few shapes. If you're ready, you can start to walk your hands up your legs and roll up through your spine. Roll your shoulders up, back and down. If you have any props under your body, just start to slide them to one side now. You're going to keep your legs extended, but no props under the pelvis. Bend your right knee and connect the sole of your right foot to the earth. You have an option here to cross your right foot over your left foot. See how that feels in your hips and knees. Your left arm is going to wrap around your right shin, and your right fingertips are going to be on the floor behind you. You'll begin here by looking forward, flexing your left foot, and inhaling your breath to create a tall spine. And as you exhale, you'll start to turn your pelvis to the right, then your belly, then your chest, and finally your gaze. Seated twist. your marichi. As you inhale, you're thinking about lengthening your spine. And as you exhale, you're thinking about deepening the twist as long as that feels okay in your back. So inhale, you're thinking about lift and length to the crown of the head and rooting down to the earth with the pelvis. And as you exhale, you think about deepening the twist, being mindful that you can still breathe with ease without creating any obstructions through this twist. Take a few more breaths here. Gentle massage for the spine. Gentle massage for your digestive system. Breathe all the way down the length of your back, all the way to your tailbone. Three more breaths. And use your inhale to come all the way back to center. Exhale, release your leg and lean back into your hands. And again, you might like to just add a bit of movement into your feet, into your legs and hips. Exhale your breath. And then sit tall. You're in Dandasana, the staff pose. And we'll start with the left side. So your left knee bends, the sole of your left foot is to the mat. Either stay like this, or you can play with that crossing of left foot over to the right side of your mat. Your right arm is around your left shin, your left knee is behind you, and you begin by sitting up as tall as you are. Inhaling your breath, and exhale, turn from the pelvis first, then the belly, then the ribs, and finally the gaze. And the reason I invite you to turn from the pelvis is because we want this twist to be integral to the entire length of your spine. Very often in practices, we choose to turn from the navel, from the belly button. But in actual fact, for a lot of these twists, we want to make this a full spinal twist, starting right down at the root, down at the pelvic bowl. So I actively engage my students in turning the pelvis first. It's very subtle, it doesn't move a lot, but we turn pelvis, then belly, then chest, then gaze. And in actual fact, I find that helps with that fluidity of breath, moving all the way up and down the length of the spine in these twists. Continuing here, long, smooth breath in, spiraling down your back to your tail. Long breath out, increasing twist. More breath. Inhale all the way back to center. Exhale to release your legs. And lean into the hands again. Just flex the legs and hips. So nice. From here, we will move down onto our backs, and this is where all your props can come in handy. So I'm going to guide you with a couple of options. The first is to put your long bolster or rolled up blanket cushions behind you on the mat. And then some of you might wish to add an extra prop under the bolster where your head is going to be. So you're on a slight incline. So this is one option. We're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly. So keep your pelvis on the floor and then simply roll down your props until your head is relaxed. The soles of your feet come together and your knees go wide. And I'm going to continue to give you options here. For some, this is going to be too deep for the back bend and it's going to create too much compression in the lower back. If that is you, try adding your smaller, thinner foam block, chip foam block under your pelvis or a rolled up blanket here. Sit on that and then roll down. That might be just right for you. Feel free to move and adjust as you need till you find that comfortable position. Soles of the feet together, knees wide. If this does not feel good in any way for your back, you don't have to do this with the props underneath you. You can slide them all the way and just come directly onto the floor. If this shape is a bit much on your hips or legs, add extra props under your hips or knees so that your legs feel more supported. So those props are great little space fillers. And if the legs just really don't feel good today in this shape, you can always just quickly extend them out long and wide in a Shavasana position, and that way you're getting a nice length through the hip flexors, a quality of surrender to the pelvic bowl. For your arms in this shape, you can either rest hands to inner thighs, or one hand to belly, one hand to heart, so as long as your elbows are relaxed into the floor. The final option will be to open your arms wide, palms face up. Again, backs of the arms to the floor as best you can. So many options in this shape. It's a wonderful, expansive heart opener for the front of the body, while also creating that great sense of surrender and yielding to the back of the body. As we rest here for time, I would love for you to come back to that rooting visualization we did at the beginning of practice. Growing roots down into the earth and all the parts of your body that are in contact with the floor. Maybe those roots are even red in color. As you do this, you're still practicing your Ujjayi breath. That's like constriction to the back of the throat, that warming, grounding breath. Take 5 more breaths. into our final shape together of Shavasana. For some of you, you might enjoy just keeping the support of these props under your back and just simply extending your legs long and wide, arms face up. That might be your Shavasana today. For others of you, you might prefer to remove the props that are underneath your body. You might slide the bolster into your knees now and put the soft hip bone block behind your head. Add a blanket over your body, an eye pillow over your eyes. Wherever you are, really establish the pelvis to the floor. And let there be no holding, no clenching in your legs. If your legs are too close together or too turned in, you will be clenching in your hips, consciously or unconsciously. So do your best to really allow the legs to be a comfortable width from one another and the toes to roll out. And put your shoulders underneath you, anchor the back of your head, close your eyes. Let your body know there is nothing more to do. Surrender to this cradle, this hammock, the earth support. Let yourself simply be. I will call you from Shavasana when it's time. And dedicate to your Shavasana today, then please stay as you are. And however it is time for you to come out now, start to deepen your breath. And add a little movement into your fingers, into your wrists and ankles. Nice long full body stretch. Inhale. And exhale, hug your knees to your chest. Send yourself some love. If you have no props underneath you, you can rock side to side. Eventually we'll roll onto our side and just spend a few more breaths there. However feels comfortable, rolling and rising your way up to a full, comfortable seat of Sukhasana, easy pose, maybe with a prop into your pelvis. Resting one hand to belly, one hand to heart. As you sit, let yourself feel. Notice how you are and how that practice has been a benefit to your body, to your mind. Pondering that question one more time. What is it that grounds you? We bow our head in towards our heart in deep gratitude for our roots, for our anchors, for all that grounds us and keeps us feeling stable and safe and secure. And whatever benefits you've taken from this practice, stay with you as you step off your mat and ripple out into the rest of your day, with others. One sealing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Thank you so much for being here. It's my pleasure to guide you. Namaste.